what you can see is part of Moscar Moor. It's a great swathe of land that goes from the A57 over to Bamford Edge. It's owned by the Duke of Rutland. He's owned it for about 10 years. Now the Duke of Rutland lives in Belvoir Castle, which I think might be Lincolnshire, I'm not so sure. So he's an absentee landlord. So what happens here is there's a whole, along the land over there, you will see a line of grouse spots, similar to the one that you will have passed here. Now people will pay £2,000 for the privilege of standing in that little hole. And then what happens is that the beaters, they will come out and they will disturb the grouse, and then the people who've paid the £2,000 will then shoot the grouse. If they're poor, then they'll miss it. They might shoot the grouse and injure them, or they might kill them. And then the dogs will come out, get the grouse, and they will be put in the bag. Now, years ago, there might have been 1,000 a day of grouse that were put in the bag, and it's called in the bag. Grouse shooting goes back well over 100 years. Now, it got its main popularity during Victorian times. Queen Victoria and Albert were very fond of grouse shooting, and so everybody around this area and other moors clamoured to jump on the bandwagon to join in that new leisure pursuit. So what happens today is, from the 12th of August, that is what they call the Glorious 12th. We like to call it the Inglorious 12th. And so that's when the grouse shooting starts, and it goes on into December. Now, the Duke of Rutland, he, on average, he will claim government subsidies to the tune of just under £200,000 a year to manage this estate, and that's to do environmental works that are supposed to help the environment, but they're not works that are for our benefit. They're not works that benefit the wildlife. It's to benefit the grouse shooting industry, and that is the sole purpose. So what they do, part of the work is the rotational heather burning, and that takes place, and the idea is that the burning the heather will create new green shoots, and it's the new green shoots that the grouse like to eat. So everybody will have heard about the problems that Sheffield has experienced over the last few years, and nearly 2 years ago the heather burning got completely out of control, and there were people further down the land there. Many had to go to A&E with respiratory problems. At that point, Oliver Coppard, the mayor of of the Combined Authority, and Olivia Blake called a public meeting. It was well attended, and the Duke of Rutland was invited to the meeting, but naturally he did not attend. And shortly after that, about 30 of us, anybody here that went to Belvoir Castle? Yeah. Yes, yeah. We went to see the Duke of Rutland to do a peaceful protest outside his gates. He didn't come out to say hello. So anyway, heather burning, and later you'll just hear from Sarah, who was so incensed by what was going on that she's formed a group of her own, which she'll talk about, which is about families and that. Apart from the burning, you will see there's very extensive drainage works. That leads to all sorts of problems of the ecology. And Botch, one of our ecology experts, will tell you about the effect on the land, how dry it is. the loss of the sphagnum moss, everything. So I'll leave that to botch. There are more unscrupulous practices that take place on these moors, and that is the persecution of wildlife. What I've got here is a snare, and this is where I have to do Clive's demonstration. This is a snare which I believe is illegal now in Scotland, but I don't think it's illegal in England. So basically what happens, this part of the wire is staked into the ground and this is left open. And something like a badger, a fox, other wildlife walks through this and its leg gets caught in this. Now this is where Clive said, don't pull it too tight, Maggie, don't pull it too tight. So the badger will try to escape, and the more it tries to escape, the tighter it gets, and it will keep trying, and it'll get tighter and tighter until there is no way out for whatever has stepped in this snare. If it's a badger, then probably what will happen, a number of things, it will either die an awful death through infection, starvation, blood loss. It might be shot by a gamekeeper who actually comes to inspect the snares. Apparently, we've even had fell runners get caught in these things. So it's not just wildlife. A fell runner could be caught in this as well. Yeah, I know, yeah. So I didn't plan that. So that's the snares. There's other things. There are traps, stink pits, everything. And the sole purpose is to eradicate anything which is a threat to the grouse. And because of that, you know, what they'll do is they'll attract foxes and whatever to feed on anything that, you know, there are eggs, there might be curlews, there might be lapwings. And Charlie Moores from Protect the Wild might say a little bit, but he said he's actually going to be talking mostly about the red grouse this year. But what I would say is, whilst you sit here, just look around. What bird life can you see? Nothing, nothing, not even red grouse. So we've lost curlews, we've lost lapwings, and obviously the treasured hen harrier. And have been prosecutions of gamekeepers for shooting hen harriers, and it goes on. And the Moorland Association, that's the other side of what we're here for, will say, well, they're just a few bad apples in a bunch, but there's too many of them. So yeah, there is the Moorland Association. There was a debate, I think last month in Parliament, because there was a petition which exceeded 100,000 signature to ban grouse shooting. So there was a parliamentary debate in one of the meeting rooms, and even Rishi Sunak turned out, you know, to be a mouthpiece for the grouse shooting industry. Sadly, we only had one MP who spoke on our behalf, Olivia Blake, who is the MP for Hallam. She was on her own. It was shocking, absolutely shocking. There was another Labour MP who spoke in favour, and I believe quite a few of the MPs on that side actually received £10,000 awards from the Moorland Association. So where we're at the moment, we've got the Reclaim Our Moors organisation, which has been around for a good few years, but it's gaining momentum. I'm so pleased that we've got at least double the numbers that we'd normally get on this walk. People are interested because we've got the possibility now to make a claim through the new legislation, the asset of community asset. We've offered £1 to the Duke of Rutland to take this moor off his hands. And I was asked by the BBC yesterday, well, what do you think you're going to have to pay to buy the moors? And I honestly didn't know the answer, because we didn't know what he paid 10 years ago. We know it's over £1 million. But I was able to say, well, we've offered him £1. I think it's too much. Bear in mind, he's already had over £1 million over a decade for the works that you see here. Sorry? It is stolen common land. We want it back in the community. We could do so much more with this land. You know, we could restore it to the how it should be. Let's have the birds back. Let's have underprivileged kids from Sheffield camping on here. There's all sorts of things we could do. And have a look around. You'll see the water behind you with these wooden enclosures. Men, possibly women, I'm not sure, they will stand in those wooden enclosure and they'll just shoot any ducks that are swimming along there, just for fun, just for a bit of target practice. And on that note, I will hand over to Sarah, who's going to say, sorry, I'm handing over to Botch. Sorry, got the wrong order. Thank you very much for coming.